Hello everyone, this is Maki. Episode 6 of GQuuuuuuX was really exciting, wasn't it? This time, let's take a closer look at the characters' lines and actions. By analyzing them alongside the staff's comments, we can uncover all sorts of interesting details. After the episode aired, Ms. Tokia, the character designer, shared an illustration. It was a drawing of Niran. Many of you are probably curious about the friendship between Niran and Amate, as well as Shuji's relationships. Let's continue to watch them together. Please note that I'll be discussing spoilers for episode 6. Let me quickly make a small announcement. On my channel, I accept support through memberships. For just 99 cents a month, you can get a name badge and special comment stamps. Now, let's dive into the analysis. First, let's discuss Anky's actions. At one point, it seemed like she had betrayed Amate by selling the red Gundam to the Zeon forces. Many people were undoubtedly shocked by her actions. But did she really betray them? There's a piece of information that might provide a clue. It comes from an interview published in the Japanese anime magazine New Type. In it, Kazuyatsuru Maki, the director of GQuuuuuuX, and Yoji no Kido, the Red Rider, shared their thoughts. Here's what Mr. Inokido had to say. Director Tsurumaki doesn't like to use dialogue to explain every little thing. He believes it's okay if not all information is conveyed through words alone. He says everyday conversations in the real world work that way too. Based on this belief, he tends to create dialogue scenes with that principle in mind. Now let's review what Anky said. She details the discovery of the Red Gundam's hiding place, her plan to sell the information to the Zeon forces as soon as the clan battle begins, and her plans to abandon the GQuuuuuuX and flee. This scene clearly goes against Mr. Tsurumaki's usual approach. Perhaps Anky was deliberately explaining everything in words for a reason. She also said Amate is a sheltered girl, so it was easy to follow her and gather information. At that moment, Amate was quietly eavesdropping on the conversation, careful not to make a sound. Did Anky not notice Amate getting that close? Anky has dealt with dangerous individuals, such as elite Zeon special forces. She's not the type of person who would miss someone like Amate approaching her. Amate is portrayed as a naive girl. Making a mistake in those kinds of high-stakes negotiations could easily cost you your life. Coincidentally, or maybe not, there's also a scene in episode 6 where Ixubi is nearly killed by the Side 6 military police. He was saved by Shalier Bull. That's the only reason he survived. If he had been alone, he probably would have died. Ixubi and Anky are portrayed in contrast to each other in terms of their abilities to deal with dangerous beings. Therefore, it's reasonable to believe that Anky noticed Amate's approach. She may have revealed the details of her plan with a specific purpose in mind. That's one way to interpret the scene. There's more to unpack regarding Anky's behavior. Let's take a look at what voice actress Ms. Tomoyo Kurosawa, who plays Amate, had to say. At a fun event in Japan, she shared her thoughts on Anky. Anky is such a dependable big sister. I love her. By the time Ms. Kurosawa appeared at the event, she had already finished recording all of her lines up to the final episode of GQuuuuuuX. Therefore, her impression of Anky comes from someone who knows the entire story from beginning to end. If Anky had really betrayed Amate in episode 6 by taking the money and running off on her own, Miss Kurosawa probably wouldn't have spoken about her so warmly. If the gentle way Anky spoke to Amate in episode 5 had been a cold, calculated act to gain her trust, it would have left a much more unsettling impression. She might have said something more like Anky is a terrifying woman. So, I think it's fair to say that Anky genuinely feels some form of affection for Amate. She says she'll abandon GQuuuuuX and escape. However, in doing so, she's actually preparing things so that Amate will be able to pilot it freely and act on her own. But is Anky acting out of pure affection? Probably not. Not only does she provide unconditional love, but she also ensures his own interests. After all, she has been described as a dependable big sister. Now, let's look at her conversation with Shalia Bull. Anky says, "I can't promise to return the mobile suit without damage." Shalia responds, "That won't be a problem." This could be interpreted as Anky saying, "I'm selling the information, but I won't be responsible for what happens afterward." She then says, "As soon as I confirm that the money has been transferred from the Xeonomi, I will leave the GQuuuuuX behind and run away." She'll collect the prize money from the clan battle, receive her payment from the Xeon forces, hand GQuuuuuX over to Amate, and disappear. If she manages to pull off all these moves successfully, then calling her dependable big sister really does make sense. Episode 6 left many fans with the uneasy feeling that several characters might soon die. It's no wonder. Why? There's a common storytelling pattern where supporting characters suddenly start talking more, showing deeper emotions, and becoming more reality show, only to meet their end shortly afterward. We saw members of the Pomeranians chatting warmly with Amate. A dog became attached to her. The man who hired Niran asked for her help in picking out a gift for his daughter's upcoming recital. Amate's mother, Tamaki, has also appeared more frequently as the episodes have progressed. What will happen to them? Oh, it's really starting to make us anxious. Tamaki in particular may be in serious danger. Episode 6 introduced elements reminiscent of Zeta Gundam. In that series, the protagonist's mother becomes a symbol of tragedy. She's taken hostage by the enemy group, the Titans, and ends up getting killed. She's sealed inside a transparent capsule and sent to a battlefield where she's shot down by a mobile suit. In episodes 5 and 6, Tamaki seriously discusses her concerns about Amate's future. Earlier, she lovingly made gratin from scratch and spoke to Amate with warmth and care. However, Amate responds, "You're just a normal mom," sounding annoyed. That normal comment is important. In Zeta Gundam, after Kamille Bidan's mother is killed, he tells his companion, "My mother was so obsessed with her job in the military that she ignored me." It's really painful for a kid to be ignored by their parents. Kamille opens up about his feelings regarding his parents. Tamaki, on the other hand, is exactly the kind of normal parent Kamille wished he'd had. Amate doesn't realize just how fortunate she really is. Now, let's look at Niran's everyday life, which is a sharp contrast. In her room, we see a book about preparing for the entrance exam to Xi'an Technical University. In Japan, special books are published for each university and field of study. These books have bright red covers and are known as AN. They help students easily find the right materials, without having to sift through countless other books. Clearly, Miran is working hard to get into Zion Technical University. Next to the exam book is another titled Guide to Permanent Residency Applications. She's doing everything she can to escape her life as a refugee and earn a normal one. While Amate sees normal as dull or disappointing, Miran sees it as precious, something worth working hard to obtain. Even up from the poem irony, Ans repeatedly uses the word normal when talking to Amate. He tells her go back to a normal life, go to school and study like you used to. He's trying to show her how valuable an ordinary life is. It's a classic storytelling technique to show that people only realize the value of something after they've lost it. What will happen to Tamaki? Her presence may be seen as an obstacle to Amate's journey to Earth. Danger seems to be drawing closer and closer to her. Since we're on the topic, let's take a look at a smaller detail. Specifically, the scene where Shalia Bull rescues Ixabi. He shoots the military police officer who had a gun pointed at Ixabi. However, if you watch closely, you notice that the officer doesn't bleed. That's because the gun that Shalia used also appears in the first Gundam. It's a laser gun. Charles Noble and Kisilia Zobi also use this type of weapon. Even in the scene where Kisilia shoots Giren, there isn't much blood. This is because the laser gun burns the body as it passes through, effectively cauterizing the wound. The same effect is shown here too. It's a subtle but intentional detail. Let's wrap things up here for now. Episode 6 was full of fascinating content. I plan to analyze more in the future. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. See you in the next episode.